Hey everybody, welcome to the Put Up Your Dukes podcast. I am Rob Dukes. It is February 28th. It's the last day of the February's. Rent is due, people. Tomorrow. Anyway, it's been a weird week, folks. I traveled out to LA and did an amazing interview. I went to I was going to stay with a friend of mine, and she had gotten the dates wrong, and she booked her house, which she uses as a Airbnb from time to time, but she was like, just come stay over, hang out, we'll go to dinner and all that. And anyway, she got the dates mixed up, and she had someone in the house. So last minute, Melody scrambled to find a hotel. So she finds this killer little hotel. It's called Venice on the Beach, or Venice something on the beach. It looked awesome, man. It had like a pool, and it had like the rooms were very like new, and the furniture was killer, and they had cool lighting, and you could see the ocean, and you could see all of like the Venice, the boardwalk. And we pull up at 1:30 in the morning, and there's a guy smoking crack outside in the doorway, and about 6 or 7 creepy weird people standing on the corner of the building. And I'm like, what the fuck? So the streets were fucked. You couldn't park anywhere. The signs everywhere, no parking for blocks. And it was it was sketchy as fuck. Anyway, we get inside, parked the car a few blocks away, and just we just slept in our clothes, man. It was fucking, it was so sketchy. Here's the best part, right? The woman at the desk, who was a total fucking cunt, said, hey, if the air doesn't work, come back down and let me know. So I go up to the room, and when he goes, I don't think the air's working, I went down and said something, and it was just one of those old dials from the 50s that you put on cold or hot, like 60 or 100, like however you want it. And I look around and I go, fuck, there's no vents or anything. There's no way for air to be in here. Like this, it's impossible. There's no vents on the floor. There's no vents on the ceiling, and none of the walls. It was a complete sham. I wish I knew the exact name. Melody, what's the name? Air Venice by the Beach. Air Venice by the Beach. Don't stay there. So we left the next morning real early, and got a hotel at the Sheraton, and I got up into the window, and I'm like, hey man, I haven't slept. We got scammed by this hotel, and I know check-in isn't until 3, man, but I need to do a bunch of shit today, so I need to go to sleep. And he gave us some room early in the morning, and we got to get some sleep. And then I went down and I hung out with my buddy Mo from all the guys at Black Flies, and they hooked me up with some shirts and some sunglasses. And if you guys want to wear some of the coolest sunglasses on the planet, is Black Flies. They were real big in the early 90s through the surfer, early punk rock of that wave, like Sublime and Pennywise and all that. They were really big, and then it kind of like I don't know, it just kind of became like a non-thing anymore. But they've always put out killer products. I've been wearing Black Fly sunglasses since 93, and I have probably 20 pair, 30 pair, so they were real cool. And then I went over to Sullen and hung out with Jeremy and talked, tattooing and music and art and clothing. Like Sullen clothing is killer. So anyway, had a great time. Found a few cigar bars. Found this great cigar bar in West Hollywood. It was a gay bar slash cigar bar. Mellow, cool as shit. The vibe was killer. A lot of just, cool people hanging out, smoking cigars, and that was cool. I found another one in Beverly Hills that was cool but ridiculously priced. And then we went to the Comedy Store and saw Anthony Jeselnik and Andrew Santino, Brian Simpson, Jessime Peluso, Ryan Sickler. It was just a great night, man. It was a cool night of comedy, and unfortunately they put us right up front because we got there kind of early because we didn't want to drive all the way back to the hotel. Anyway, so it was a cool week, man. I saw my friend Greg and Emmy and my friend Jen and my friend Jeff and Jack, and was kind of like a business thing, in and out. Not a lot of personal stuff, but it was cool. Late at night was cool. And then what else? The new Corpse Grinder album. So it dropped on the 25th. So real quick, this episode is brought to you by MartyrStore.net. And if you like brutal music, you're going to love the new Corpse Grinder album. It came out February 25th, and it is fucking heavy as balls, man. It's Corpse Grinder. It's exactly what when you hear that name, you're like, oh, what's it going to sound like? Does it sound like the Bee Gees? No, it sounds like Corpse Grinder. It is fucking killer. George is a lead singer of Cannibal Corpse, and he's now launched this new project, Corpse Grinder, and they released their new album on the 25th. Vinyl will be out this summer. You can pre-order signed CDs and cassettes at MartyrStore.net. And if you use the code Dukes, you get 10% off your order at MartyrStore.net. And just use the code Dukes to check out. I had these guys reach out to me from Battleforge Coffee. Here, they give me a little sticker. And I tried it. And it's really, really good. It's a good coffee. Mo, did you like it?
I loved it.
Yeah, it's good coffee. So I'm going to give them a shout out. Thanks for the little package. It was really cool. It was so if you guys are a coffee connoisseur, which I am, I love my good coffee. I don't drink shit coffee. So try out Battleforge Coffee. What else did I fucking do this week? I just watched this killer documentary on the Stooges, and when you watch this, it's called Gimme Danger, and it's a really cool fucking story because they're just a cool fucking band. And I never forget, my friend Tim Chape, I don't forget how to say his last name. It's Chape, Chape, whatever. My friend Tim was a stoner dude that lived in an apartment by me, and we smoked pot and listened to Black Sabbath, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, like really loud. Like we had these big, huge speakers, and we sat on the couch, we smoked a big old joint, and we just cranked it. We didn't say a word to each other. We just listened to the record from beginning to end, but it was back in vinyl. So halfway through it, he had to go and flip it over and then drop the needle back on. And we did that, and then he goes, "Hey, man, have you ever heard the Stooges?" And me being like a 17-year-old kid, I was like, no, I never have. Who are they? Well, this band from the 60s. And he dropped the needle on, and holy fuck, it was something new and weird. And he turned me on to the Stooges, and later that he turned me on like Black Flag. And, when you watch this documentary, you realize the Stooges happened before the Ramones, before all that shit. They were the beginning of it all. They were like acid heads. They were called the Psychedelic Stooges in the very beginning because they were kind of like the Doors, but with like this punky edge. But they were from Ann Arbor, Michigan, so they weren't on either coast. They were playing just in Michigan with MC5, Wayne Kramer. And it's a really cool documentary. I highly suggest it. If you like music documentaries, it's a really good one. Iggy is a real cool fucking guy. I really liked him. do the whole, and the other computer nerd. This guy was in the Stooges, and then he quit after Stooges ended. He quit and went and started doing computers. And he's like, they show him in a suit and tie, and he's like this nerdy computer guy. It's pretty funny. And then they got back together and did Coachella and some gigs later in life. And then at the end of that little run, but it was a cool documentary. I can't say enough about it. All right. That's it for this week on my rambling in the beginning here. My guest this week is Mr. John Araya. John is Tom's brother. And me and John became friends. I toured with Slayer, and me and John like hit it off immediately. Very cool, very mellow guy. He looks exactly like Tom. It's uncanny, but he's like 12 years younger than him. So I had him on the podcast because I wanted to hear all those stories of him telling me like what was it like to like watch Slayer rehearse as like a 12-year-old and your older brother is in this band and they're called Slayer and he told me all these really great stories. He works out at a tattoo shop. He lives out in Texas now. He talks all about that. And he's just a great guy and one of my favorite human beings to tour with because we always were laughing and always having a good time. And he was a really good friend. And here he is, Mr. John Araya.
What's up, buddy?
Hey!
How are you, man?
Good, man. What's up?
Good to see you.
It's been a while.
You look as crazy as I do. It's awesome, man. Yeah.
Hey, man, we're both Pisces.
When's your birthday?
March 10th.
Oh, I'm the 8th. Yeah, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think you're a year older than me, and
yeah,
2 days.
Yeah. So, how you been, brother?
Dude, man, trying to survive.
Yeah.
Trying to make it in this crazy world we're living in right now.
Yeah, I mean, so just to give my fans a little, the people that watch this, not my fans, give the people
you have fans
who are paying attention, man. Anyway, she's being a pain. Look at that.
Okay. Rad.
She's being a pain in the ass. She's like,
what's her name?
That's Muppet, and I have another little black one named Token over there after the South Park character. So the reason I wanted to have you on is one, because we're buddies, and you have a really interesting story, and plus, talking to people that made a living working with bands for a year, and then just to have it all crushed it's been brutal, man. I mean, people that spent your mostly your adult life working in the industry, working for bands and on stuff, and have it just fucking gone. It's been so we've had to find other ways to make a living.
Yeah, man, this was tough.
Yeah, and I feel bad for all the roadie guys, all the techs, the club owners, the people that were, because it wasn't like we were making millions and saving, and these are just regular people working paycheck to paycheck most of the time, and to have it all wipe away has been really lame. It's been really fucking lame.
Yeah, man, that's I think that's the one industry that got hit probably the hardest, I think, work-wise, for career techs, I guess. Everything just stopped, and you had to go and get a real job, part-time job or something for a year.
Yeah,
however long it was.
So I saw you and Brittany. Brittany is a tattooer. Her name Brittany Elliott.
Yes,
Elliott.
Yes, sir.
Electric Art Tattoos in San Antonio, right?
That's right.
I follow her, and her work is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Has she been teaching you?
Oh yeah, man. I'm apprenticing right now.
Nice, dude.
But just a little over a year.
Oh, how's it going?
It's great. I'm learning.
Yeah.
She's taught me so much, and apparently I'm doing all right.
I saw the dice you did. I saw that picture, and I saw that she did a bunch of really cool work on you, man. You've gotten a lot of new work.
She did. She covered up some old stuff I had on my arm here, and she put some new stuff on there. And she's amazing artist.
Yeah. I've been. I just did my whole back, man. I had my whole back done. I did a big back piece. Aaron Coleman from Immaculate Tattoo out here did it.
All right, on.
Yeah. So I've been working on that for a while, trying to finish that up. But so I met you on tour. You were working for your brother, and working for Slayer, and we were the opening band.
That's right.
And it was you and Armin, and dude, we had so much fucking fun.
Yeah, we had a great time.
A lot of weed. A lot of
that happens.
So tell me about how you got into the industry, and how, like, what were you doing before this? Like, what were you doing before this, before you started working with Slayer and working with your brother? Let's hear a little of your history.
Before I worked with the band, I was let's see, that must have been about when I was 14. So I was still in elementary school. Wait, is that junior high?
Right.
That's junior high.
Yeah. Eighth grade. Yeah.
So I was still in middle school, and I just kind of got I don't know, just, hey man, you want to come with us? I'm like, yeah, sure. They need someone to hump gear around, and
right.
I was there just tagging along. And,
from day one. So you were day one.
Yeah.
With Slayer touring.
Right. Yeah, right. I was maybe about 13, and I was sitting in the garage watching them rehearse and write all these songs and just create all this stuff. When my mom and dad let me go back there, because Jeff was always, it was a party back there, and they finally let me go back there and hang out, and then there's some magic disco dust floating around, and then the wacky tobacco floating around, and of course the Coors Light flowed like water.
Yeah.
And I was exposed to that at a young age. So, but the music, it was really cool to watch him write all these like classic songs that people haven't even heard. They never recorded or demoed or anything.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
So before that, what were you listening to? I know you were a Kiss fan, and were you, I mean, how much older is Tom than you?
8 years.
So he was actually like, so if he was 20, you were 13, 14 or 12, right? So like,
12, yeah.
so he basically influenced all your music. That
well, they had a big influence on him, especially when when Slayer formed, because prior to Slayer they had a top 40 cover band called Quits. It was Tom, and then Carrie joined later, but it was top 40. They were doing like Van Halen covers and some really wacky songs. But hey man, that's how they gigged, back in the day. And then when Carrie and Tom got together, Carrie gave Tom a mix, like a tape mix. These are the songs I want to cover as Slayer, and it was Maiden, Priest, Deep Purple,
right.
All the stuff from that time, the new wave of British heavy metal.
Right. And Jeff was coming from the punk rock side, bringing in TSOL and the Circle Jerks and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where the fast and the fast stuff came into play. Was Jeff's punk influence, which was awesome, because he introduced us to punk pretty much. Like, what's this Dead Kennedys, GBH? I'm like, yeah. Awesome. It just totally changed my mind, changed my life, changed everything about everything.
So when Slayer was first going out, you immediately were sitting there watching the band. Were you with them when they were still in spandex? Of course you were with them when they were still in spandex, wearing a little bit of makeup, right? And then they went to the Bay Area and things changed. Was that
they went to perform the first time, and they had the eyeliner and the Fredericks from Hollywood get up.
Yeah.
And the people were like, dude, what are you guys doing, man? You don't need that shit. They're like, I'm going to Thrash Town, there's all these dudes in denim and leather, and here's these guys rolling up in shiny spandex and that, yeah, the makeup went away right after that. They lost the makeup, and then they went full on, Halford with the leather and all that.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty funny going up there. I remember one good memory was them playing and me looking down and seeing Hetfield laying across the front edge of the stage when they were doing a cover of something, and he's sitting there doing this like like nothing to say. Everyone's just like going crazy. He's like, it was just one of those, I can't get that visual out of my mind ever. It's just Hetfield just sitting on the edge of the stage. And of course, Airborne, Andy and Toby,
Rage
guys, Toby Rage, just walking on heads across the crowd. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Who's this guy? He's like walking on waters.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Did Exodus change the game for you guys when you went up there?
Dude.
Or was it was Exodus, right?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, that Bonded by Blood was out on tape with Tape Traders, at least a year before the album came out.
Yeah.
And we had heard it. And it's like, what is this sound? It was just insane. You can hear the amphetamines coming through that guitar. Oh, goddamn, man. Jeff is always like, it was funny because Jeff would be like, Rick, man, you can just hear him just grinding his teeth like soloing. Like, holy smokes.
I'll never forget when we were playing in France, and I look over and Jeff and Kerry and Tom are watching us, and we were going out right before you guys, and they were all like fucking. I look over and Jeff is like, "Fuck yeah, man!" That was like that was a good show. That one where they were setting the fires in the pit. Remember that? They had those huge fires in France, and you were there. I mean, so Slayer goes through the Bay Area, things change. They come back to LA, right?
Yeah.
And now they're in the hometown, and now they're going up against like the Hollywood glam hair metal, and they stayed the course. Were they playing the same clubs with those bands on different nights, or did they ever cross paths on the same night and then force the two crowds together?
No, that never really happened. They did a lot of early gigs with the Metal Blade roster, like Savage Grace and Bitch. They did lots of gigs with Aiden Steele, but they never crossed paths with the glam scene. But they were right in the middle, in the thick of it.
Right.
But it was all around them, but they didn't care. It was,
they just stayed the course, do it.
They're like punks,
Yeah.
With long hair.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, I always love that story. I mean, I remember talking with your brother, and he told me that the first tour was in a Camaro with a little trailer, and rolling through there, and just and just to have, to be witness to all that, right? I mean, I'm sure you have stories. Did you ever do your own band? Did you ever?
In high school.
Yeah.
I was in a band called Blood Cum.
Okay.
We were just high school kids who were just influenced by metal and punk, and we had the band's rehearsal space there. So we're like, hey man, as soon as they were done, we go in there to fuck around, because it was all the gear was there.
Yeah.
So that's how it started, just watching them and hanging out. And I met some kids in high school. They're like, hey man, your brother's in that, you guys in Slayer, right down Hope Street and State. Because they would walk by and you hear this band playing, and people would hang out in the parking lot of this grocery store on the other side of the brick wall that divided the parking lot and our house.
Right.
So kids used to hang out in the parking lot and just sit there and drink and just listen to the guys rehearse. And that's like, hey man. And then they were like, hey man, you guys live in that house with all the music? Like, yeah. And I told them, and they were like, Slayer, yeah, I know, I've heard of them. They're playing locally and stuff. And that's how I met a lot of the guys in the band. They just heard the music rolling down the street, and they're like, "Who lives there?" And that's how I started.
Were you guys part of a big family?
Yeah, we had a big family. There was 4 sisters and 3 brothers. There were 7 of us.
Wow.
Yeah.
And were you born in Chile, or were you born here?
I was born in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah, and me and my younger sister were both born in LA, and the rest of my family were born in Chile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did so man, I it's weird. I didn't write any questions down. I kind of was, because I knew that I didn't want to like totally talk about your brother, but I wanted to get a sense of you. What was it like for you to watch him go through the paces as Slayer just progressed? Was it I mean, I just can't imagine you not having an enormous sense of pride and just, that's my fucking older brother. And then, like, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Just to be a part of it and to have it stay in the family and be there and watch it all.
Yeah, it was at the time you don't realize what's going on, what's happening,
Right.
It's longevity, it's like, hey, you start this band and do some record an album or whatever, and take it from there, see where it goes. But watching them grow and watching them write and watching him become so successful was really cool, because I saw where they started and where they came from.
Right.
And to start from here and just take that slow incline all the way up and then just never stop,
Yeah.
And it was cool. And I was proud. I was like, man, good for these guys,
Yeah.
They're getting a name and they just exploded. When Rain and Blood came out, it was like, boom, later,
Right. Yeah.
That was it.
And then so I'll never forget being at the New York, the Yankee Stadium show. And that was one of my favorites. That was one of my favorite shows. It was the last time I saw him, Dave, with Slayer. We did that tour right before that. The one us, Exodus, Rob Zombie, and Slayer, which was fucking fun every fucking night. I mean, that was a blast.
Yeah, the Garden show, the Yankee Stadium show.
Yeah, the Yankee Stadium show was.
Oh yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I remember sitting behind Dave, and he had this. He would do the double bass part in Angel of Death, and I asked him, "What's the longest you ever done it?" And he goes, "I don't know, 40 seconds." I'm like, he goes, I don't want to do it because it makes Kerry mad. And so he was doing it and he looks back at me and he looks at his watch and I went, "It's not long enough." And he kept going, and then he would do it just to annoy Kerry. Well, yeah.
Dave's great, man. I love watching that guy play. Holy smokes, because he changed it up every night. He always did something different, And then I remember one day, I think maybe it was even that show where he was doing his double kick, right? He's sitting there going, doing his double kick. Then he looks at his watch. He's like, keeps going, looks at it again. He goes, "All right." Pop, 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 pop. And it was like at least a minute long, Like,
it was me. I was the one that told him to do that before. It's all my camera. I was standing there and he's like, "Fucking yeah." And we actually went. So he had that band Film at the time, and we went out and did 4 shows. Like the next day, like after the Yankee Stadium show, he was playing. He was playing at a club in New Jersey to like fucking 200 people.
Wow.
The next, like 2 days later, and we went and Generation Kill did 4 shows with a Film, and
nice.
Yeah, it was fun, man. It was fun as shit. Dave was a good dude, and
Film
we had a blast.
Film was a great band, man. I loved them a lot.
They were fucking
so
great.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a shame it didn't go any further. Like they had a falling out, which sucks because they were a good band. Their first album was good. They were better live than they were on record. Like if you saw them live, you saw something special, and the record didn't really capture what they did. I remember eating acid and listening to Slayer and it would change your vibe of who you were as a human being, you know, being 19 years old. And I first heard, you know, Rain and Blood when I was younger. And I remember meeting all you guys for the first time, and it was hard not to be a fucking fanboy, but I was singing for Exodus. So, and I was like you, I was a tech who just got lucky, and they said, yeah, we need a singer. Now I'm up there doing it. And it was hard to go back but I always hung out with the crew because I felt at home there.
Yeah.
And, you know, and
and it's like you're a tech, and once someone finds out you're a tech, it's like, hey, hermano, you know?
Yeah. What was the craziest show? Like, so, I mean, you have probably a million stories. What was the craziest show where if it got like riot wise, like got out of hand? Like, we had a couple of those, but do you remember?
Yeah, there was at the South to Heaven tour. I didn't get to work for them because I had to finish school up, but we went to the Hollywood Palladium in Hollywood. This must have been like 80, 88, maybe, right? I think it was 88. They played the Hollywood Palladium, yeah, and Danzig opened up, and I can't remember who else was on that bill, but that show ended up being a riot. There was a riot after the show. They had a riot cops walking up and down the parking lot. Just if you were in their way, they just push you out of the way. They were just knocking people out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
And there was a fight inside the venue. There was blood on the floor. Someone got stabbed.
Yeah.
And then another person got thrown through a plate glass door window at the front of the venue. And I remember my mom and dad, my parents were there, and my sisters, my family are there, and they were like, what the fuck? And they were so scared, and they were like, go home, just go home. And they split. But I remember after the show, just looking at the floor of the Hollywood Palladium. It's a big wooden floor, and there was just blood everywhere. It was insane. I didn't know what was going to happen, man. It was pretty scary.
Were you at the Beacon show in New York when they tore out all the seats and they got banned from the Beacon for a long time because it was Danzig and Slayer?
Yeah.
At the Felt Forum, or no, it was either the Felt Forum or the Beacon Theater. I forget which one.
Felt Forum.
Yeah, Felt Forum, and tore out the seats, and the same kind of shit happened. It was just insane.
Yep. No, I wasn't. That was South to Heaven. I had to finish up school, so I didn't get to do that tour. Which you know, my dad was like, "No, man, you got to graduate." He goes, "Oh, all right." So I did the Rain and Blood tour '86, and then they continued to Europe in '87 with Rain and Blood. And I couldn't do that. I had to stay home and finish school. So so there was like about maybe 3 or 4 years I didn't get to work with them just to finish up school, and I had to keep that promise to my dad. You know, I'll get that diploma, Dad. I swear I'll get it. And I graduated. You know, I had to. But,
and then and immediately jumped on the bus and.
You know, I went and did like a sound engineering school for about a year, and I said I can't do this. I already know this shit because I had been in the studio already like at least 3 times with the guys.
Right.
Like Hello Eights, Show No Mercy, Rain of Blood, watching all that stuff, tracking it, and then watching Andy Wallace split tape manually, you know, 2-inch tape with a razor, and like go back and forth the reels, like ice, and then edit it together. I'm like, holy smokes, man, that lost art. And it was just great to see these guys work.
Were you
great people?
Were you there for the drum sessions? Did you get to watch Dave lay all the stuff down?
Yeah.
At the time, did you realize what was happening? Because at that time, I mean, honestly, they were the first ones. Like Exodus did their thing, Metallica did their thing, Megadeth was doing their thing, Anthrax was doing whatever they were doing, and you guys were doing that thing. And did you, in your mind, were you just like, oh, this is just a drum day, or did you realize what was happening?
Man, 15, 16, I had no idea what was happening. I was just trying to absorb it all in, you know, just being in the studio was like, wow, this is amazing. Just like, man, I belong here in the studio. This is like home, you know?
Right.
Watching Dave was like watching a modern day Keith Moon.
Yeah.
He's just insane. And he even kind of looked like him in a way back when he was younger. Like,
Right.
holy smokes! There's a photo. There's a real good photo of Dave playing drums. I think they were tracking. I think they were tracking Rain and Blood, and he's doing something, but he looks just like Moon in the face.
Huh.
Like, holy smokes! He's pulling his Keith Moon energy, or I don't know what. He had exact same features, and I swear to God, if you squint your eyes, I'm kind of blind, but man, that's Keith Moon.
Well, it was always incredible watching Dave and watching Tom Hunting. They both had this, like when you're watching the band, it's really hard not to just watch them the whole time, you know.
Hunting, the most underrated metal drummer of all time, Tom Hunting.
Oh, dude, man.
Dude's
yeah,
amazing.
even Dave said that. Even Dave was like, "Oh, Tom's a fucking beast, man." And watching, you know, Dave would watch him every night when we were on tour together. Like Dave was like, "Wow, he's just a fucking." And you know what was funny was they're both lefties, but Dave played a righty kit and Tom played lefty kit. Like it's just the way it worked out. But they both had this special way of playing the drums that no one else had. You know, so
yeah, and I consider Hunting like kind of like almost like a grandfather or whatever you want to call it, godfather of fucking thrash metal drumming, man. I mean, he's so underrated. He's such a great drummer. He's so fast and quick and just nicest guy, you know?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I remember I talked to Tom recently and he was talking about where him and Dave, there was some of the differences was that they would start at different spots. And that's what made them so special. Like I think Tom said he was ahead of the beat on the roll and Dave was a little behind. And that just made why they're playing. So when you hear it, you know it's them. Like and I remember Bostaff telling me that Tom was the hardest to fucking cop riffs from. He just was too weird to cop the riffs.
Right.
And, when they recorded Rain and Blood, did they do it drums and then everybody in the same room, or was it all separated? And
it was all pretty much like live. You know, they always did the live session and try to keep as much of that live tracking as possible.
Yeah.
And plus thing, it had Ruben on that record, so he just he cleaned them up and tightened that ship up so well. And Ruben was kind of like the George Martin to the Beatles. Ruben was to Slayer. He took them in and polished them up and said, boom. And then Rain and Blood came out. You can hear the difference, like from Hell Awaits to
absolutely.
I mean, it's like, whoa, you know, even Hell Awaits had Ron Fair producing that. It was really great, but it was pretty raw, and you know, it had some funky tones on that record on Hell Awaits, but then they got, you know, Ruben came in and just polished them up, and it was incredible watching him track that. It was great.
So what was the worst show you had to tech at? Like, what was the worst show there? Because being a tech, I know like when a head blows or a cord breaks or something goes and you have no idea what it is, the stress factor, your heart rate jumps and the stress becomes, I just got to fix it. And when you don't know where the problem is, man, it becomes a fucking nightmare. And the musician, I'm speaking when I was a tech, just wants it fixed, and they panic and they stress you out, and now it's like this fucking shit show. And I only went through that a few times, but when I became the singer, I was able to understand it, and I never stressed anyone out because I had been there, so I kind of knew, but no one else. So what was the worst one that you remember?
What was it? We did a show in Florida I think the theater was called Cameo in Miami. And I think we had power issues, and I kept blowing Jeff's amps. They kept blowing up like through the whole set, at least maybe 3 times.
The tubes are blown up, or they were just shutting off?
They were just I was blowing fuses, not the tubes, but the actual,
the fuse. Okay, yeah.
They kept blowing. I was like the whole night, at least 3 times that night. I was like, what the fuck? Then during the set, it's like the pickup died in his Jackson. I'm like, what? I mean, can it get any worse? You know?
Right.
I just wanted to walk out the door and say, later, guys, I'm going to the beach. You know, it was terrible. It was like, oh, and then you just inside, your guts all wrenched, and then you're just sweating. And
Yeah, you feel like you're ruining the show.
Yeah,
Like
I was lucky enough that Jeff wasn't, one of those dudes like fix that shit, or sort it out, bro. He wasn't like that. He was just like he'd come over to the side and like just drink his beer, just wait for shit. Like, is it working? I'm like, yeah. He put his beer down and go play.
Yeah,
I didn't get that stress. I put that stress on myself because I
just yeah. Jeff was a cool motherfucker, man. He was
great.
The stress on yourself becomes insane, and it just I remember I never got mad at any text. I remember one night I got mad because I was kind of making fun of him while he was trying to fix it. And he got mad at me and he said some shit. And I was like, dude, I was just fucking with you. Yeah. And I had done it over and over again. So it wasn't like a new thing. He fucked up all the time. So I was just like, this one night he just had enough. And we were fucking screaming with him and at each other. And that was the only time that ever happened.
You pull out your arm, just hit him on top of the head.
What was out of all the memories, what was your favorite live show that ever happened? Like, do you remember? Because I know that India was pretty great. I know Yankee Stadium was pretty great, but there had to be. I know the big shows for myself were pretty awesome and on set. But I remember some smaller gigs that were just memorable too. What was your favorite?
Man, there were so many to choose from. They're all epic. I'm trying to think of one that was awesome. The first time that they got to headline their own show at this amphitheater in Chicago, I think it was called the World Theater in Chicago. It's an amphitheater, I think, and it was capacity 25,000, and they sold it out as their own headline show. It wasn't like a tour, like a festival tour or nothing.
Right. What year was this?
Must have been 18 maybe or 19. It's pretty recent, but that's the first time they've ever played at a home crowd, their own show, 25,000 people. That was the most I've ever seen at a Slayer show, like here in the States, their own tour, their own headlining show. That was amazing. That was like epic. That was just incredible. And probably the first time they did Donington too. This is like maybe 92 or something around there. Early 90s, and they played Donington. I remember coming out and going, holy shit, man, this is insane. Just the amount of people in this room. Out in this field, thousands. I've never seen that many people at a show before, a festival. And it was just a sea of heads all the way back. And that was incredible too, to see that, because those guys are nervous as hell, man. It's one of the biggest crowds ever played in front of. It was insane. Yeah, there's so many shows, man. I'm like, man, which one? But they all had their little epicness to them,
Yeah. The when you weren't doing Slayer, did you tech for other bands? Did you go out? Or did you made enough money with Slayer to like that sustained your life, right? And then did you, in between when they weren't touring, or if they were in a recording session, did you go out with other bands?
Yeah, I did. I worked with Danzig, early 90s, the OG lineup. What else did I do? I did some dates with Lou Reed between Slayer tours. I did a little bit of Machine Head.
You checked for Lou Reed. Lou Reed.
I
actually got to do a show with Lou Reed, and I was teching for Navarro, and Lou Reed did a song, and I remember him talking to me and being very, very nice to me, because I wasn't working for him. But I saw the guy that was teching for him. He wasn't very nice to him at all. So
what year was this roughly?
This was probably 2003.
Okay, that was after me.
This was New York. Yeah, we were in New York, and we were at Platinum Sound Studios or something. They were rehearsing for one of those Camp Freddy gigs. Remember, they'd have a bunch of guests come up, and Slash came in and played. So, but Lou Reed came in, and they did like a song with him, and then just rehearsing for the song was nerve wracking enough. Not for me, for the other guy. I was
The other
like,
guy.
bro, I feel bad for you, man. Fuck.
Yeah.
Was he Was he like that to you, or was he cool as fuck?
Well, in the beginning, it was kind of weird because my friend Yogi, who's drum teching and bass tech. Oh, he's bass teching. I'm sorry. He's doing stage left bass. He said, "Hey man, I got this gig if you want it. You know, working for Lou Reed, doing stage right guitar. You know, Mike Rathke." I'm like, "Hell yeah, man! I'll do stage right guitar." So I get to the gig, and there was no rehearsal for me. I jumped in like right as the tour started. Like the tech they had wasn't cutting it, so I came in maybe their second show, and no rehearsals, no nothing. You know, because back then there was no cell phones and all that shit. So I'm like, whoa, fuck. I was a nervous wreck. And then they introduced me to Lou, and he wouldn't talk to me directly. He was asking his production manager to ask me if I could like rewire pickups or I can, you know, tech things. He's like, does he know? Ask him if he knows how to swap out a pickup. I'm like, okay, this is awkward.
I can, but why would you ever want to do that on a tour? You're playing $10,000 guitars, man. Stop it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So that was nerve wracking. I remember that day we sent the runner. It was like, "Hey John, you need anything from the runner?" I go, "Yeah, man, give me 2 bottles of Mylanta." You know, and I had a bottle of Mylanta on my work box that entire tour. I was just like, all right, show started. I just take a big ass swig because, oh man, we're you know doing guitars for Lou Reed. This guy's a legend. You know, man, I go, please God, please don't let me fuck up tonight. Please don't let me. And you know, after like 2 shows, he was like, he started talking to me, and everything was great. His rig worked. He was never out of tune. He was happy, and then soon after that, he stopped doing sound checks.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't need to do sound checks.
Yeah. John's got it going.
That's right.
Yeah. So I did that. I did a thing, and then I ran into him at the Yankee Stadium show because he was at that Yankee Stadium, the Big Four show. And I ran to him backstage, and he remembered me. He goes, "Hey, man, what's going on?" I was like, "Hey, how you doing?"
He was?
Yeah, he was at that show. Because he was, at the time, no one knew it, but he was working with Metallica on the Lulu stuff. So so that's why he was there, and I was a guest of Kirk.
Okay.
So Gary and all those guys had full shit. But do you remember the Exodus was going to play that show because Dave Megadeth was gonna? He couldn't do it. He got because of his neck. So they had bought plane tickets and were flying Exodus to go open the show. And I was already in New York, so I'm like, I'll drive over there right now. So, and then that just so I had a full VIP, could go anywhere pass because of that. And we were supposed to open the Yankee Stadium show. And then at the last minute, Dave Mustaine said, "Yeah, I'll do it." I'm like, of course.
Yeah, Mustaine's like, "Oh, I'm better now."
Yeah, I'm better now. I think he said something like, "I'm taking my life into my hands, but for the fans, do it." I'm like, dude, man, come on, man.
He's a trip, man. Mustaine's a trip. He's a funny guy. He's a trip.
Yeah, he was always very. Yeah,
Lou Reed, the asshole. I didn't even know he was there, man. He didn't, you know. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I hadn't seen him in a while. And he passed away not too long ago, and I remember feeling really sad when he passed away.
Me too.
He was a good man. He was really nice to me.
It was very nice to me too. So, and I felt like just privileged that I got to work with him for just one show, and he was, you know, he was very, very cool and a very nice guy. So,
it was.
So, did other techs made it a full-time gig, right? You moved. When did you move to Texas?
I moved to Texas in 2019, like a couple, just over 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I think. No, that's going on 3 now.
Ooh, wow. You still got your C10?
Yes, we have our C10, and we have our F-150 in the driveway. A 68 C10.
Yeah, we bonded over the trucks because we both had C10s, and we fucking we talk about that shit all the time. Yeah,
we got a V8, a 350 V8 in there. Took out the inline, the straight 6 that was in there. Put in a V8. That thing hauls ass. So
and burns tires off of it. Yeah.
My F-150 still has the straight six in there. I don't think I love that engine, but I'm thinking about swapping it out with a new one because, you know.
The thing about the straight six is it'll just run forever. It'll just keep going. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Did you when you changed the motor in the C10? Did you change the gas tank? Did you move it behind the back seat?
The gas tank's still back there. You know, we fill it
Really?
up, and yeah, it smells great, man.
Yeah, it's awesome, right?
Sitting in your cab, like, oh, I want to drink. I love gasoline. I want to drink. I just want to drink gasoline. I love the smell. If I fill the tank, I'll just sit there and go, toxic.
Yeah. So how often do you talk to Warren? You stay in touch with him since you guys stopped touring?
You know, I haven't spoken to Warren or Royce or any of the crew guys, and you know, since the tour ended. You know, it's been so long. Yeah, it's just really weird. Everybody, this virus hit, everything kind of just went.
Yeah,
you know, just silence from no one. I didn't hear from anyone, which is really weird. But you know, I just figured everyone's got lives, you know, trying to survive and do what it takes to make a buck. Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks, man. It just sucks. And I'm proud of you, dude. I'm proud of you. You started tattooing.
Yeah.
You know, if people are ever in the Texas in San Antonio and you want to get a tattoo, you know,
come on down,
dude, man. She's amazing. And I know that if you're apprenticing with her, you probably got something going on, or she wouldn't be having you there. So
it was you know, touring was done, you know. Being at home during this whole pandemic bullshit, I enjoyed being home, and I realized how much I missed out just being away for 35 years. You know, you miss so much. You miss birthdays, you miss the holidays, you miss the Christmases and all that stuff. And I realized that, you know what, I think I like it. I think I like being home. And so Britt was like, hey, you know, let's get you tattooing. I'm like, yeah, this is the perfect time. So I started apprenticing under her. And when now that touring's back up, I'm like, you know what, I don't want to go out. I don't want to do tours. I want to stay home and work from home.
Yeah.
I love it. I miss it so much.
I know that you guys do some cool art too. I saw the chair and the table. You guys did some really cool stuff, and I was always like, "Oh, I want that! I want it in my house! I want that!" You know, but you guys do, like, you guys are true. She's a true artist, which is fucking killer, and not just a tattooer. She does everything, which is is really cool. And I'm happy, John. I'm happy that you found. I know that, like, you know, being a tech and being in a band and coming from that world, we sacrificed a lot for the, you know, for me, you know, being a singer was one part of it, and being a tech was just making sure that everyone was having a good time, like the crowd and the band had fun, and all they had to think about was playing. Yeah. And I know that your job is super important when you're doing it. And the sacrifices we made, relationships and travel and family and missing all those things. And I'm glad that you found a spot to go, and you're happy, dude. You look happy in your pictures. You know, I follow you on Instagram, you know, Britton on Instagram. I see your photos and I look at your face. I'm like, oh, he's fucking happy, man. And that's good, man. That's really good.
Yeah, I'm in a good place right now. You know, I love Britt. She's awesome. She's an incredible woman. San Antonio is great. The food's great. Our home is great. It's like a little museum in here. And it's just, you know, that touring world was just, it takes a toll, you know, after years and literally bleeding across the world. You know, I probably had spilt my blood in every state and most of the countries around the world.
Yeah.
You know, scars everywhere to show it. And yeah, it's a big sacrifice. You know, you don't realize that at the time, but in the end, after, like, you know, 10 years or so, you start saying, wow, you know, this is crazy. How much have I missed out? How much of life has gone by? And it's like, whoa, I just want to stay home and take it all in now. Just enjoy it now, you know?
Yeah. Well, good, man. Well, hey, man, thank you. I'm gonna take a trip to come see you. I'm gonna have your girl tattoo me. I'm gonna have you tattoo me. I'm not even gonna have your girl do it. I'm gonna have you do it. I'm gonna have fucking I'm gonna get a tattoo from you. I got a little space left, man. I'm getting close to the end, but I will do something. You know,
well, you got space on your forehead, so you can get that nice big gen kill across your forehead.
Yeah, man. So you know what? Thank you very much. Tell Brittany hi, and I'm gonna put a link on the all this. I'm gonna have links to her website and I mean and all her tattoo stuff and you should call Warren and the boys and just to reach out and say hi.
Yeah, I gotta do that. You know, I haven't come in touch with anyone. I just kind of like, what the hell am I gonna do in life? I'm just sitting here trying to figure out what I was gonna do.
Yeah,
yeah, man. You could check out Britt's tattoo work at bztattoo.com. She's got she's a master of cover-ups.
Yeah.
So if you got any shitty tats you want to cover up, she's the lady for you, man. And you know, I'll give you a nice apprentice tattoo. You know? Get your hand covered up there. I see you got some space on your hands.
Yeah, actually I did these, right? I did that. So yeah, man.
Ouch.
And they survived somehow. This is like 15 years old, man.
That's 15.
Yeah, dude.
Amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna do like a big pentagram here. You know what I mean, or something fucking crazy. I don't know.
We were just up in Austin. We went to check out Glenn Danzig's latest movie, Death Rider and House of Vampires.
Yeah. How was that?
The movie's great. It's if you're into like low budget, you know, horror movies. It's funny as hell.
Is it?
Eli Roth is in it. He's got Jeremy Sands. What's his name? Sands, the Warlock. I can't remember the actor's name. But he was telling me the story. Oh yeah, maybe you see Jesse James? He was just here. He just left. Like, no, he's got a tattoo on his hand that says "Pay me."
Right.
Like pay me. I'm like, wow, great.
Yeah.
So that's incredible that those tattoos are still on your hand for so many years. And
20 years, man.
How bad did that hurt?
It didn't hurt that bad. You got to do like a dot at a time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I got it in Vancouver. Don't remember the guy's name. It was on. It was the night before Thanksgiving. I was teching, and I was on tour with Megadeth, and the band flew home, and then all the techs stayed, and I went and got tattooed on 6th Street in Vancouver. Perfect. Yeah. What do you want to get? I don't know. Do my hand. Let's do that. Whatever.
Sure, right here.
Yeah.
Man.
So John, thank you very much, man. I know you have a really interesting life, and you have a lot ahead of you. And you know, it's one of the things I realized is how important friends and family were. Yeah. And one of the things reason I started this podcast was so I could reach out to my friends and family and stay in touch and have these kind of conversations. And
yeah, that's great. Awesome. Man.
All right, bud. All right, man. Well, you have a beautiful day, dude.
You too, Rob, man. Thanks for talking.
All right, bud.
Love you, man.
Love you, brother. Love you, man. Peace.